What would the world look like if people felt like they mattered? Welcome to the Lead with Love podcast, exploring what it means to lead with love in business and life. I'm your host, Jada Selner, and in this show, I'll share meaningful conversations to help you, the creative, the entrepreneur, the world changer, reach more people, go after your dreams, and serve your community with love. I appreciate you joining me. Now let's get cozy and start today's episode. Hey, it's Jada Selner, and today I am doing a solo episode. And this episode is for you if you consider yourself an overthinker. I'm raising my hand over here. And you want to quiet the self-doubt so that you can trust yourself, trust your body, trust your intuition. I'm talking about following your feelings over formulas. So I believe that there is a call, especially as you're stepping into leadership, whether that's in business, whether that's in your own family, or you are creative, putting work out into the world. There's a call for us to, release the training wheels of formulas and templates and checklists and all of that good stuff to where we actually start following our feelings and our heart and our body and truly quieting that mental chatter of ourselves beating our own selves up and also beating ourselves up from the outside world, so from the external voices. So I feel that we have a lot of voices from the courses, the teachers, the parents, ourselves, of just letting us know if we're doing enough, if we're doing it right, all of that stuff. And so I really want to sink into this of really leading with love is about coming from a place of your feelings and honoring that part. And I believe that we're all thinkers, we're all feelers. Some can identify and lean on their feelings more than others, and some lean on the thinking more than others. And honestly, neither is wrong. We're all on this spectrum, and we have pendulums of when we trust ourselves. Sarah Jenks, she talks about in her episode of there's that drill sergeant in her that's like the marketing Sarah, and then there's the goddess Sarah who's like, I'm not building a business, I'm building a temple. So you definitely want to check out that episode, and I'll link to it in the show notes. And if you're not already subscribed to Lead with Love, please do it. If you're listening in iTunes, super easy to just scroll down and then pick how many stars that you think this podcast deserves, and then leave a comment, a personal review. And then you can also subscribe via email. So if you go to jadaselner.com/lead with love, you'll be taken to the podcast page, and you can see all of the episodes and the show notes and links and all the books I reference. And a book I want to talk about today, which I've talked about in many episodes, but I'm just so inspired by it. And this didn't necessarily inspire the episode, but I had already been thinking about this, like the formulas versus your feelings. And I was listening to the book, and then he just said so much stuff that validated everything that I believe when it comes to building beautiful work in the world. So I'd love to share this quote with you from Tim Gallwey, who is the author of the book Inner Game of Tennis. So he says, if we let ourselves lose touch with our ability to feel our actions by relying too heavily on instructions, we can seriously compromise our access to our natural learning process and our potential to perform. I love that. So what he's talking about is we get these instructions from our teachers, from our coaches, courses, books, kind of like the right way to do things or the 5 best ways to achieve this outcome. And if we start to rely too heavily on that outside noise, then we actually stop ourselves from learning. And we are natural learners as humans. If you think about children, so my daughter Zoe, she's 10 years old now, and she's been learning piano in a peer-based class. So the program is called Simply Music. She has a teacher, and then she's learning along with her peers. And what I love about this method of her learning piano is that it's play-based, which I think everything in our lives as humans, like how can we make it more fun? How can we embrace more play in our lives? So I love that. But the second part of what makes this process so unique and why we chose to go this path versus a solo classical piano teacher, which our daughter has been a part of, but it was not as fun for her. So learning, one, needs to be fun. And then two, the part is really being able to learn with your body first before trying to bring your brain to the party. So what Simply Music does is they actually have the kids learn how to play chords and actually create songs as quickly as possible to build their confidence. Instead of, getting them to memorize notes and being able to read notes and do this and do it exactly right, or you get punished, do it over again. So they actually build this confidence of just learning and trusting their bodies, trusting themselves to put these pieces together to make something that sounds, kind of good. Over the years, my daughter has gotten super, super better. Like, it's amazing. She's building confidence to actually compose her own songs. Like, this is a nightly practice in our home, is she's making up songs and putting things together. And she didn't start with the manual, with the playbook of how to, learn how to read notes and sight see. So that process has really allowed her to have the confidence. And the teacher who was enrolling us into this program was sharing with us, as kids, as babies, especially for when we're learning how to speak. We actually don't learn how to read first. We're teaching our kids words, to use their bodies, their mouths, to say things. I taught my daughter baby signs. So she's using all of those things to communicate versus only you need to know how to read right away. So it was the same parallel in learning piano, that we teach them how to play first, how to speak with their hands before they learn how to read with their eyes. So this is what choosing to lead with your feelings versus formula, especially if you're stepping into a leadership role. And I do believe that, formulas, templates, checklists, all these things that are guiding you, they're like training wheels and they're super important. But then ultimately, as you step into that next level of learning, you really have to take the training wheels off and find your own voice, find what feels and fits right for you and who you are in the world. So I feel that people tend to really just not trust themselves, and they start to feel separate from what's really, really true for them because they're listening to the outside noise. So instead of trying to fit yourself into this preconceived model, whether it's, creating work in the world or building a business, whatever your expression in the world is, you want to truly allow yourself to learn and discover what feels comfortable and what works best for you. So you can learn from other people and they can say this is how I did it. It's the best way. It's the right way, but it's the best way and the right way for them. So when you're in a journey of exploration, you actually have to give yourself some grace and some space to learn, to test, to experiment, to try things on and see if that fits and that works for you, because there's just some models that will not work for you, and it doesn't mean anything about you or your learning or your efforting or anything like that. It's just this does not fit for me. This isn't how I want to express myself in the world. I'm glad I tried that on and I won't be doing that anymore, So I think that part is really, really important, and really allowing ourselves to let our actions override the mental chatter that's going inside our heads, which is telling us what we're doing and if we're doing it right or wrong. We really want to stop that. So my question is, how do you stop following all of the formulas and instructions and quiet your own mental chatter, that inner voice? My friend Amy Ehlers, she talks about the inner mean girl, right? That's like beating yourself up, berating yourself, and then adding in all the other voices in the world that are saying that we're not doing it right. I could record a whole nother episode about that. But I love this part that he says in the book, Tim says in The Inner Game of Tennis: let it happen or let it learn. Let it happen or let it learn. So instead of forcing, that we really need to allow. And this part takes, time to really let things happen and to let yourself learn along the way in this journey. So in the book, he talks about self 1 and self 2. So self 1 is your mind, and that's the one that's like telling yourself 2 what to do, just telling it what to do. Like, I want you to do this. And self 2 is the doing self. It's the body. And what we want to try to learn is, how can we get the mind to get out of the way so that the body can do what it already naturally knows how to do? Bringing it back to the child, right? The child is eventually going to learn how to speak and ultimately will learn how to read, but the body already knows what it needs to do. The babies, they coo, they make noises, all of these things. They start moving their bodies because they want to be crawling and walking on all of those things. So there are 3 things that I'd like to cover that are actually inside the book, and then I'd like to go deeper into it to talk about, really leading from a place of feelings versus formula. Number 1, learning how to get the clearest possible picture of your desired outcomes. Number 2, learning how to trust self 2, that's your body, to perform at its best and learn from both success and failures. And number 3, learning to see non-judgmentally, to see what is happening rather than merely noticing how well or how bad it is happening. So getting really clear on that. So I want to go deeper into this. So learning how to get the clearest possible picture of your desired outcomes. This is really about like, what is it that you want? What direction do you want to go? We have to create that map for ourselves. So often we are looking for others to kind of give us the maps and the directions. And, it's the number one thing that my clients ask for, whether they're just starting, a business idea or they've got a very profitable business, and they are all looking for clarity and next steps. Like, what do I do next? And what about now? And I know, as a human, as a business owner, as a mom, as a wife, I get tired and I have decision fatigue and I just want people to tell me what to do. But ultimately, being the rebel that I am, the Gemini, the ENFP, like, you really can't tell me what to do. I really have to feel into the decision. So as much as I want people to tell me what to do so I don't have to do the thinking work, you're not going to get the desired outcome that you want from that place. And again, people are teaching, guiding you from a place of their own experience, their own preferences, their own values. And so some of their lens may be similar, but it is not exactly the same. So you really, really have to trust that part in yourself to do the work, to make the space, to have the time to create what it is that you want. And again, your vision, your outcome, what you want can change directions at any time. So I just want to give you permission that just because you create a map for where you want to go doesn't mean that you can't create another map and be like, I thought I wanted to go to New York, but actually I want to go to Florida. So you can change that at any time. So something that the book talks about is giving yourself to the body part of you, not the mind part, not the thinking part, not the teller part, but your body part, a visual of the result that you want, the outcome that you want, and allow it to do it. Oh my gosh, I know that might sound really hard, but instead of focusing on the how, you really, really want to focus on the what and the why to get you there. So I always say, like, I know what I want and I know why I want it, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to get it or when it's going to happen. So that's really releasing and letting go of the attachment and the outcome. So that's number one. Getting clear on the vision, and your body actually needs and thrives on that visual direction. So the thinking brain just wants to like write everything out and have the checklist and have the step-by-step plan, but your heart, your body really, really wants like the vision of where it's moving towards. And it like already subconsciously knows how to get there. It's going to be resourceful enough. So really leaning on that part. And this goes into number 2, which is about trusting yourself, learning how to trust self too. Again, your body to perform at its best and learn from both success and failures. Trusting your body to do what it's capable of doing and taking no thought on how you should actually do it. So you really, really want to ask your body to do whatever is necessary to do it, and then you just got to trust the process. So, even today, I recorded an Instagram live. It was my first time ever. I think it was my first time ever doing an Instagram live, but I decided to document my process of getting actually my outline for this solo episode together in this moment. So just, about an hour ago, I think it ended up being like 43 minutes. So if you want to see my behind the scenes of what I'm up to more on a day-to-day-ish basis, definitely follow me at instagram.com/Jada Selner. So what I did was I basically showed me working on my outline, and I needed a little bit of that external social accountability. So I just recorded and then I got to work, because the outcome was I want to record an episode to communicate and connect with my listeners about, what I believe when it comes to really leading with feelings versus the formula, like dropping the formula. I knew that was the outcome that I wanted. And so I needed to get in that space and just allow my body to get into the zone. And so I have these things, like I was just listening. Okay, I want to light my candle. I need to get some hot tea, which I actually want to take a sip of right now. I love tea. So really being able to allow my body to just do the work. And I'll share some tools and strategies that I use to kind of quiet the mental chatter, because I have a lot of mental chatter when it comes to recording solo episodes. Again, this is my second one that I've done on my own, and I was supposed to do more back in the day, but I just haven't, because I've had a lot of fear and resistance to just me. Like, am I enough? Is what I have to say, my perspective, opinion alone, enough to keep someone intrigued and engaged? And so there's a lot of that mind chatter going on. But if I just allow my body to trust the process, and what he mentions in the book, he says relaxed concentration. So we actually don't have to try so hard. I feel like with our minds, we're efforting way too much. We're overthinking way too much, and it is exhausting. So what do you need to get in place to kind of press pause on the mental chatter that's creating this buildup of resistance, where if you just told your body, record the episode, my body could just press record and like know what it needs to do. But I've created all this overthinking and over planning and like outlining and bullet points and just complicating the process to where I don't actually press record for several weeks. So I think it's really important to notice that pattern in ourselves of how much that efforting in our minds is just burning us out and making us feel super, super exhausted. So in the book, it says, as soon as he attempts to exercise control, he loses it. So with our overthinking, with our over planning, with our over polishing, we are actually pretending like it's our way of expressing control. Like, I have control of this situation, when you actually, with all of that, you're losing the control. So really leaning into, I just want to breathe into that relaxed concentration and doing what your body already knows what to do. So if you can just get yourself to press record or press publish or reach out to that person, just do it and not overthink it. We can move forward a lot faster without feeling like we're moving so fast, because our minds, man, I know mine moves at millions of miles a minute and it just doesn't slow down. So if we can lean into our bodies, we'll actually feel that space. We'll feel ourselves slowing down if we can tune in and not let the mental chatter override the action, the doing. Our self too is the doing part of ourselves. And so it's not that you don't know what to do. You don't actually do what you know. And I think that part is so good. So really, if you could pause for a moment right now and think of what is something that I'm kind of thinking about a lot and not doing too much around, and just connect with your body, connect with your heart, and really feel into the answer of, what do I know I need to do next? And really feel into that answer. Allow it to show up in a word, a phrase, a picture, a color. Really hearing that answer from your body versus the mind that's trying to exercise all of that control. And in the book, Tim talks about self one, right? Is the teller, the one that's telling what to do, trying, the ego mind, and it's looking for approval and avoiding disapproval, or your self two, your body, the doer, the one that makes the effort. Self one actually doesn't trust self two, which leads to losing self-confidence. So we actually want to build and repair that relationship with self one and self two to start to trust each other. So that's number 2, learning how to trust yourself, trust your body, trust your feelings within your body. And then the last one, number 3, is learning to see non-judgmentally, to see what is happening rather than merely noticing how well or how badly it is happening. Oh man, do we know how to judge everything that we do? And I know that these are things that we've grown up with, is like right or wrong, and that just gets ingrained in us. And as adults, we create more fear and doubt. And what happens is then we have more fear and doubt when it comes to just learning. So we don't give ourselves permission to just learn. So if you're a new business owner, or even if you're a seasoned business owner, give yourself permission to learn. It's a never-ending game of learning. That's why myself and my team, our values is really about a lifetime love of learning. And that's what I'm paying attention to for my daughter in school. I thought I would homeschool her, but as long as she's still values and has that love of learning in her, like she wants to learn more, then I know she's in a good environment. So we really need to start embracing learning and experimentation and not judging ourselves when we're learning along the way. We are humans. We will never stop learning and growing. That part is actually what fuels us. So give yourself permission to learn, to not have it all figured out, to not have the right answer. And that's where you're actually going to have less fear and doubt in that learning process. And we really want to, as we're practicing, not have the judgment, of the self one that's like, you're doing it wrong. We have to be more flexible and not become so attached to the outcome. So always something in it for you. Know that there is always something in it for you to learn. And Marie Forleo mentioned in a previous podcast episode of Lead with Love, she shared this quote. I'm not sure who the original quoter is of it because I Googled and researched it, but you either win or you learn, but you never lose. You win or you learn, but you never lose. So if you could reframe any failures as lessons, embrace those moments as feedback of like, great, good to know, got some new information, and now I know how to move through that the next time that I do it. But I think we're too hard on ourselves and we're rushing ourselves too much to mastery. And if you're truly doing good work in the world, it's going to take time. Those things don't happen overnight. If you think about food, like the best food is the stuff that's been seasoned and simmered over time. And it's just like taking so much time and attention and detail and really valuing that quality. And that comes from learning, that comes from mistakes, that comes from failing. So just not being so attached to outcome and thinking of ways of like, how can we build resiliency? And like, this is all a test. This is all an experimentation. That's what I'm all about in my Love Over Metrics business growth incubator. It is a testing ground to, one, build a business that aligns with your heart, with your soul, with your life, with your values, building that values-based leadership within your business. And you're not going to figure that out right out the gate. You're learning and just trusting your body to feel in to the right next step for you. Those are the three things: learning how to get the clearest possible picture of your desired outcomes, being really able to connect to that vision, which is so, so important. And that's something that I lead my own clients through, is connecting to that bigger picture, that bigger vision, that bigger why, not wine. Wine is good too, but just your why. And then learning how to trust self too, your body, to perform at its best and learn from both success and failures. And then 3, learning to see non-judgmentally, to see what is happening rather than merely noticing how well or how badly it is happening. And George Mumford, he's the author of The Mindful Athlete, and he's behind some pretty big coaches, working with like Kobe Bryant from the Lakers and Phil Jackson and all of these people. I would love to bring him on this episode. I need to make a mental note of that. But he's the author of the book, The Mindful Athlete. And I had a great conversation with him, and he said, and I bring this into my meditations, is to have compassion with kind eyes. So really observing without judgment with kind eyes. And I just think that's such a beautiful image of, as you're watching, observing what's happening, that you do it from a really kind and compassionate place. So let's give you some action steps now that we've talked, about really leading from that place of leaning into your feelings and allowing that to override the formulas. Let's release the training wheels to really step into that next level of leadership. So getting clear on what you want, trusting your body, that doer in you that already knows what to do, and then focus on observing without judgment. So here's some things that I think you could possibly take some action on to really support yourself on this journey. So number 1, distract yourself from yourself. This is what I do. When it comes for me to quiet my mind, I really want to get into that place where I can feel myself versus hear myself. So allowing yourself to feel yourself versus hearing yourself. Because if you're hearing yourself, you're hearing that self one, the mind that's telling you what to do, what not to do, how to do it in a million different ways. And really allowing yourself to quiet your mind so you can feel yourself. And some ways that you can do this, and this is what I do, is I listen to music. Oh my goodness, when I know I need to get some stuff done, I go to a coffee shop. Yesterday I actually went to 2. I went to my office in the morning, then I texted my friend Paula and I was like, do you want to meet at a cafe to do some co-working? And then I still had a little bit more work in, and I felt really bad like staying in one place and not buying more, and I just wanted to walk a little bit. So I went to another coffee shop. Like, I love the noise and the ambiance and being surrounded by other people who are doing things. So that, listening to music, I love listening to hemisync music, which was introduced to me by my friend Casey Carter. It's, like brainwave music that's instrumental and just like captures basically that self one mind so that you can get to work and do the work from your body, trusting that you already know what to do, you're just not doing it. And then surround yourself with inspiring, positive, uplifting people. So now you can start to create a new script of voices around you, not discouraging ones that deflate you and make you feel less than. So you really want to replace all of that mental chatter with new, uplifting, inspiring voices. So surrounding yourself with a community of people that get you, that love you, that see, your possibility. That piece is so important. And it's what I do all the time. I'm like, I need my people. I need my women to lean on and to remind me of my greatness. And then setting a timer. So I do Pomodoros, the Pomodoro technique, and I set the timer for 25 minutes. And I did that today when I was writing my outline for this episode. And what I notice is what the timer, and I didn't notice that until today when I was thinking of some things that I wanted to share with you, was when I set the timer, I'm now focused on the time versus my voice, right? That like inner mean girl voice telling me I'm not doing it right, or the resistance voice, all of those pieces. So the timer is having me focus on like, oh, I gotta get it done in 25 minutes. So again, I'm distracting myself from myself. And then I light candles for focus, like that fire. It's just like, ooh, it allows me to focus in another direction. And I love scented candles. And then you could also find a word or an intention, a mantra, affirmation that you can come back to over and over again. And for me, I have a tattoo on my left forearm and it says choose love. So I always come back to that for me. Like, what is the most loving thing that I can do in this moment for myself, for my community, for my family, whatever, for this body of work that I'm creating? So, what's a word that can kind of redirect you back? What's that intention? Just really thinking of, maybe you have a word of the year or the quarter. So really finding that and coming back to that so that you can distract yourself from yourself. Another thing is creating a delete button to not beat yourself up. So you could literally have a trigger word that's like delete or bye Felicia, whatever it is, right? Like just like a term that you can kind of like, you know what? I'm going to set reset so that I don't get caught up. We can allow ourselves to learn from the moment instead of getting stuck in a moment or getting stuck in the past, because that's where resentment and distrust build up for ourselves. So I've read a lot of articles just on high performing athletes like Stephen Curry with he has a delete button that he presses. Like if he misses a shot in a game, he doesn't keep repeating, like beating himself up, like, oh man, I missed that three. There's a delete button that's like, okay, now we're back in the moment, present moment. And so we're constantly always pressing delete or reset so that that noise of the past of like what didn't go right is coming into the present moment in the future. And I feel, even as I'm thinking of that, I'm like, ooh, get really caught up in that, what would I say, like record that just keeps going, like looping over and over again. So we want to delete that. And then choosing action over thinking about action. So I always tell my people to take imperfect action, like getting over that perfectionist in all of us, to really choose to take imperfect action over thinking about action. Like, let's not overthink it. Let's just do it, like Nike. So really getting to that place. So I hope these things were super, super helpful to you. If they resonated with you, I would love for you to take the time to leave a review in iTunes. It would mean the world to me. Also, if you don't want to miss an episode, go to jadaselner.com/lead with love, and that will take you where you can enter your name and email so you always get reminders and making sure that you don't miss an episode. And I also want to share with you, I am going to be opening spots for my next Love Over Metrics Mastermind. I'm so excited. So this current group, I've been with these women for 9 months now. I'm so excited. And I'm welcoming in new women. So if you're a woman with big ambitions and an even bigger heart, and you are building some work in the world and you want to get your message out there in a bigger way, you want to serve the world and really do it from a place of integrity without burning out and compromising your health and relationships in the process, go over to loveovermetrics.com and you can enter your name, your email, and even your phone number if you just want a text reminder so that you don't miss when the applications are available for you to complete. And I can get to know you and your business and see if being in a business growth incubator with creative, heart-led women is the right next step for you. And of course, always listen to your body. Trust your feelings, your intuition, yourself to lean into what that next step is for you. And please, please just remember to play and have fun and trust yourself and not be so hard on yourself. We're only in this body, in this form, once in this way. So really just embrace imperfect action, love on yourself, trust yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your heart and attention in listening to Lead with Love. If this message, leading with love in life and business, and remembering the humans and beating hearts behind the numbers and all of that good stuff, I would love for you to take the time to leave an honest review. It would mean the world to me, and it also helps more people find out about the goodness and helping spreading more love in the world, which we really, really need. So I would really appreciate that, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.